Welcome to the Bible Quiz and Trivia channel. Today, we're diving into the Book of Deuteronomy, exploring its rich teachings, laws, and the profound messages delivered by Moses. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like this video to support our content. After the quiz, share your score in the comments. We love seeing how well you do. Are you ready? Let's get started. Question 1. Who is the primary speaker in the Book of Deuteronomy? A. Aaron. B. Moses. C. Joshua. D. God. Answer: B. Moses. Moses is the primary speaker in Deuteronomy, delivering his final sermons to the Israelites before they enter the Promised Land. Question 2. What is the primary theme of Deuteronomy? A. The history of the Israelites in Egypt. B. The renewal of the covenant. C. The wars of the Israelites. D. The genealogies of the tribes. Answer: B. The renewal of the covenant. Deuteronomy focuses on the renewal of the covenant between God and Israel, emphasizing the laws and responsibilities the Israelites must uphold. Question 3. How many sermons of Moses are recorded in Deuteronomy? A. 1. B. 2. C. 3. D. 4. Answer: C. 3. Deuteronomy records 3 major sermons delivered by Moses, each addressing different aspects of the covenant and the law. Question 4. What is the Shema, and where can it be found in Deuteronomy? A. A prayer, Deuteronomy 6-4-9. B. A battle cry, Deuteronomy 20-1. C. A law code, Deuteronomy 12-1. D. A genealogy, Deuteronomy 1-1. Answer: A. A prayer, Deuteronomy 6-4-9. The Shema is a foundational Jewish prayer that emphasizes the oneness of God, found in Deuteronomy 6-4-9, beginning with "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one." Question 5. Which chapter of Deuteronomy contains the 10 Commandments? A. Chapter 5. B. Chapter 10. C. Chapter 12. D. Chapter 1. Answer: A. Chapter 5. Deuteronomy 5 contains a restatement of the 10 Commandments that were initially given in Exodus 20. Question 6. What does the name Deuteronomy mean? A. Second law. B. God's people. C. Land of milk and honey. D. The final testament. Answer: A. Second law. Deuteronomy means second law, reflecting the book's content of Moses, reiterating the law to a new generation of Israelites. Question 7. Which river is mentioned as the boundary the Israelites must cross into the Promised Land? A. Nile. B. Euphrates. C. Jordan. D. Tigris. Answer: C. Jordan. The Jordan River is mentioned as the boundary the Israelites must cross to enter the Promised Land. Question 8. What festival laws are detailed in Deuteronomy? A. Passover, weeks, and tabernacles. B. Hanukkah. C. Purim. D. Yom Kippur. Answer: A. Passover, weeks, and tabernacles. Deuteronomy details the laws for the festivals of Passover, weeks, Shavuot, and tabernacles, Sukkot, emphasizing their observance and significance. Question 9. What does Deuteronomy say about the treatment of slaves? A. They should be enslaved permanently. B. They should be treated harshly. C. They should be released after 6 years. D. They should never be paid. Answer: C. They should be released after 6 years. Deuteronomy instructs that Hebrew slaves are to be freed after 6 years of service, and they should not be sent away empty-handed. Question 10. How does Deuteronomy instruct the Israelites to deal with the cities they conquer? A. Enslave all inhabitants. B. Offer peace, then proceed if rejected. C. Immediate destruction. D. Integration into Israelite society. Answer B. Offer peace, then proceed if rejected. Deuteronomy instructs that when approaching a city to conquer it, the Israelites should first offer terms of peace. If the offer is rejected, then they may proceed with siege and conquest. Question 11. What warning does Deuteronomy give about kings? A. Kings should amass great wealth. B. Kings should not multiply horses, wives, or silver and gold. C. Kings are not necessary. D. Kings should come from foreign nations. Answer B. Kings should not multiply horses, wives, or silver and gold. Deuteronomy warns that future kings of Israel should not acquire many horses, wives, or vast amounts of silver and gold to prevent their hearts from turning away from the people and God. Question 12. What are the blessings and curses described in Deuteronomy? A. Blessings for obedience and curses for disobedience to the covenant. B. Curses for enemies only. C. Blessings for the surrounding nations. D. No curses are described. Answer A. Blessings for obedience and curses for disobedience to the covenant. Deuteronomy describes blessings that will come with obedience to God's laws and curses that will result from disobedience, serving as a pivotal component of the covenant. Question 13. What specific dietary laws are reiterated in Deuteronomy? A. Eating of any meat. B. Prohibition of eating blood. C. Mandatory vegetarianism. D. Eating only during certain times. Answer B. Prohibition of eating blood. Deuteronomy reiterates the dietary law prohibiting the consumption of blood, emphasizing the sanctity of life and blood as the source of life. Question 14. How does Deuteronomy address false prophets? A. They should be ignored. B. They should be honored. C. They should be tested by their adherence to God's commandments. D. They should be welcomed. Answer C. They should be tested by their adherence to God's commandments. Deuteronomy states that false prophets, even if they perform signs and wonders, should be tested against the teachings and commandments of God. If they lead people away from God, they are to be rejected. Question 15. What commandment does Deuteronomy give regarding the Amalekites? A. To form an alliance. B. To forget their deeds. C. To remember what Amalek did and blot out their memory. D. To convert them. Answer C. To remember what Amalek did and blot out their memory. Deuteronomy commands the Israelites to remember the hostile actions of the Amalekites as they came out of Egypt and to blot out their memory from under heaven. Question 16. How is the year of Jubilee described in Deuteronomy? A. As a year of total silence. B. As a year of pilgrimage. C. As a year of release for slaves and debts. D. There is no mention of the year of Jubilee in Deuteronomy. Answer D. There is no mention of the year of Jubilee in Deuteronomy. The concept of the year of Jubilee is detailed in the book of Leviticus, not Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy, however, does discuss the release of debts every 7 years. Question 17. What provisions does Deuteronomy make for the Levites? A. Levites are to inherit the largest portion of land. B. Levites have no territorial inheritance, but receive tithes. C. Levites are to be kings. D. Levites are excluded from religious duties. Answer B. Levites have no territorial inheritance but receive tithes. Deuteronomy specifies that the Levites, who perform religious duties, have no inheritance of land like the other tribes, but are supported by the tithes of the people. Question 18. What does Deuteronomy prescribe for handling disputes? A. Immediate exile for those involved. B. Establishment of a single high court. C. Local judges and officers in every town to execute true justice. D. Use of a lottery system to decide cases. Answer C. Local judges and officers in every town to execute true justice. Deuteronomy prescribes the establishment of judges and officers in every town to handle disputes fairly and justly, ensuring that justice is administered locally and effectively. Question 19. What does Deuteronomy say about the role of prophets? A. Prophets are unnecessary. B. A prophet like Moses will arise, whom the people should listen to. C. Prophets should only come from Jerusalem. D. All prophets are false. Answer B. A prophet like Moses will arise, whom the people should listen to. Deuteronomy predicts that God will raise up a prophet like Moses from among the Israelites, and the people are to listen to him, highlighting the continued importance of prophetic guidance. Question 20. Which chapter of Deuteronomy discusses the concept of cities of refuge? A. Chapter 4. B. Chapter 19. C. Chapter 12. D. Chapter 23. Answer B. Chapter 19. Deuteronomy chapter 19 discusses the concept of cities of refuge, which are to provide asylum for those who commit manslaughter unintentionally, ensuring they have a place to escape to without facing blood vengeance. Question 21. What is the significance of Mount Gerizim and Mount Ebal in Deuteronomy? A. They are locations for offering sacrifices. B. They represent the mountains where the 10 Commandments were given. C. They are where blessings and curses were recited by the Israelites. D. They signify the places where the ark was kept. Answer C. They are where blessings and curses were recited by the Israelites. Mount Gerizim and Mount Ebal are significant in Deuteronomy because they are the locations where blessings and curses were pronounced by the Israelites as part of renewing the covenant. Deuteronomy 11:29, 27:12-13. Question 22. What does Deuteronomy say about marriage and family laws? A. Encourages polygamy. B. Strictly forbids divorce. C. Includes laws on marriage, divorce, and family responsibilities. D. Does not mention family laws. Answer C. Includes laws on marriage, divorce, and family responsibilities. Deuteronomy contains various laws regarding marriage, divorce, and family responsibilities, providing guidelines on how to handle issues within the family structure. Deuteronomy 24:15. Question 23. How does Deuteronomy instruct the Israelites to treat foreigners? A. With hostility. B. Indifferently. C. With love as themselves. D. To enslave them. Answer C. With love as themselves. Deuteronomy instructs the Israelites to love the foreigner residing among them, treating them as they would themselves, because they were once foreigners in Egypt. Deuteronomy 10:19. Question 24. What warnings does Deuteronomy give about worship practices? A. Promotes diverse worship practices. B. Warns against idolatry and establishing unauthorized places of worship. C. Encourages worship in any form. D. Specifies no particular guidelines. Answer B. Warns against idolatry and establishing unauthorized places of worship. Deuteronomy specifically warns against idolatry and the dangers of establishing worship practices in unauthorized places, insisting on centralization of worship and obedience to God's commands. Deuteronomy 12-4-5. Question 25. How does Deuteronomy contribute to the historical understanding of Israel's covenant with God? A. By disregarding the covenant. B. By documenting the renewal of the covenant. C. By questioning the validity of the covenant. D. By omitting references to the covenant. Answer B. By documenting the renewal of the covenant. Deuteronomy significantly contributes to the historical understanding of Israel's covenant with God by documenting its renewal, emphasizing the stipulations, blessings, and curses associated with the covenant. Deuteronomy 29. Question 26. What laws does Deuteronomy lay down regarding warfare? A. Only defensive wars are allowed. B. No guidelines on warfare are provided. C. Includes rules for conducting warfare, such as offering peace before attacking. D. Commands total destruction of enemies without exception. Answer C. Includes rules for conducting warfare, such as offering peace before attacking. Deuteronomy lays down specific laws for warfare, including offering terms of peace before engaging in battle and rules on how to treat captives and conquered cities. Deuteronomy 20. Question 27. What is the law of the captive woman in Deuteronomy? A. Captive women must be released immediately. B. Captive women are to be enslaved permanently. C. Instructions on how to marry a woman captured in battle. D. All women captives are to be executed. Answer C. Instructions on how to marry a woman captured in battle. The law of the captive woman in Deuteronomy provides instructions on how Israelite men may marry women captured in battle, including requirements for her mourning period and treatment. Deuteronomy 21:10-14. Question 28. How does Deuteronomy address the issue of inheritance for daughters? A. Daughters can inherit if there are no sons. B. Daughters are never allowed to inherit. C. Daughters always inherit less than sons. D. Only sons can inherit. Answer A. Daughters can inherit if there are no sons. Deuteronomy addresses the issue of inheritance for daughters by allowing them to inherit if there are no sons, ensuring the family's property stays within the family if there are no male heirs. Deuteronomy 21:15-17. Question 29. What prayer from Deuteronomy is part of Jewish daily prayers? A. The Aaronic blessing. B. The Shema. C. The Song of Moses. D. The Prayer of Jabez. Answer B. The Shema. The Shema, found in Deuteronomy 6-4-9, is an essential part of Jewish daily prayers and emphasizes the oneness of God, serving as a cornerstone of Jewish faith and practice. Question 30. What is the significance of the phrase "to this day" in Deuteronomy? A. It indicates the permanence of the law. B. It refers to unresolved historical questions. C. It underscores the continuing relevance of the events and places. D. It is used to indicate future prophecy. Answer C. It underscores the continuing relevance of the events and places. The phrase "to this day" is used in Deuteronomy to underscore the continuing relevance and historical continuity of certain events and places mentioned in the text. A. Deuteronomy 34-6. Question 31. How does Deuteronomy emphasize justice? A. By encouraging revenge. B. By underscoring fair treatment of all, including the vulnerable. C. By promoting inequality. D. Justice is not a theme in Deuteronomy. Answer B. By underscoring fair treatment of all, including the vulnerable. Deuteronomy strongly emphasizes justice, particularly fair treatment of the vulnerable such as widows, orphans, and foreigners, and stresses the importance of equality before the law. Deuteronomy 24:17-18. Question 32. What is the great commandment mentioned in Deuteronomy? A. You shall have no other gods before me. B. Love your neighbor as yourself. C. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength. D. Honor your father and your mother. Answer. C. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength. The great commandment in Deuteronomy is to love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength. Deuteronomy 6-5, emphasizing total devotion to God. Question 33. How are blessings for obedience and curses for disobedience presented in Deuteronomy? A. As optional guidelines. B. As historical accounts. C. As direct consequences of the Israelites' actions. D. Not mentioned in Deuteronomy. Answer. C. As direct consequences of the Israelites' actions. Blessings for obedience and curses for disobedience are presented in Deuteronomy as direct consequences of the Israelites' actions, outlined in detailed lists that describe the prosperity that follows obedience and the calamities that follow disobedience. Deuteronomy 28. Question 34. What does Deuteronomy say about debt forgiveness? A. Debts are to be forgiven every 7 years. B. Debts are never to be forgiven. C. Debt forgiveness is discouraged. D. Only foreign debts are to be forgiven. Answer. A. Debts are to be forgiven every 7 years. Deuteronomy mandates that debts among the Israelites are to be forgiven every 7 years, promoting a cycle of release that prevents the perpetuation of poverty and debt within the community. Deuteronomy 15-1-2. Question 35. How are the Moabites and Ammonites treated in Deuteronomy? A. They are to be welcomed into the assembly. B. They are forbidden from entering the assembly of the Lord to the 10th generation. C. They are to be attacked on sight. D. They are to be given special privileges. Answer. B. They are forbidden from entering the assembly of the Lord to the 10th generation. Deuteronomy specifies that Moabites and Ammonites are forbidden from entering the assembly of the Lord to the 10th generation because of their treatment of the Israelites when they came out of Egypt. Deuteronomy 23-3-4. Question 36. What does Deuteronomy instruct about tithing? A. Tithes are to be consumed by the priest alone. B. Tithes are to be used for personal consumption. C. Tithes are to be brought to the designated place and shared with the Levites and the needy. D. Tithing is not mentioned in Deuteronomy. Answer. C. Tithes are to be brought to the designated place and shared with the Levites and the needy. Deuteronomy instructs that tithes of produce and livestock are to be brought to the designated place and shared with the Levites, who have no portion or inheritance, and the needy, such as the foreigner, the fatherless, and the widow. Deuteronomy 14:28-29. Question 37. What prophecy concerning Israel's future king does Deuteronomy contain? A. That the king must be a foreigner. B. That the king must not multiply horses or wives. C. That there will be no king over Israel. D. That the king will come from the tribe of Judah. Answer. B. That the king must not multiply horses or wives. Deuteronomy contains a prophecy concerning Israel's future king, specifying that he must not acquire many horses, wives, or excessive silver and gold to ensure that he does not lead the people astray. Deuteronomy 17:16-17. Question 38. How is the theme of remembrance utilized in Deuteronomy? A. It is used to promote forgetting past mistakes. B. It emphasizes the importance of remembering the lessons of the past and God's laws. C. It is only used in relation to negative events. D. Remembrance is not a theme in Deuteronomy. Answer B. It emphasizes the importance of remembering the lessons of the past and God's laws. The theme of remembrance is crucial in Deuteronomy, used to emphasize the importance of remembering the lessons of the past, God's laws, and the experiences of the Israelites to ensure fidelity to the covenant. Deuteronomy 8-2, 24-9. Question 39. What role does Deuteronomy play in the Passover celebration? A. It is not involved in the Passover. B. It is read in its entirety. C. Specific passages from Deuteronomy are read to recall the Exodus. D. It dictates the recipes for Passover meals. Answer C. Specific passages from Deuteronomy are read to recall the Exodus. During Passover, specific passages from Deuteronomy are read, particularly those recalling the Exodus and the importance of remembering and retelling the story to future generations. Deuteronomy 16-1-8. Question 40. What are the specific rules about land ownership in Deuteronomy? A. Land can be permanently sold. B. Land must revert to the original family every Jubilee year. C. Foreigners can own land. D. There are no specific rules. Answer B. Land must revert to the original family every Jubilee year. While the specific rule about land reverting to the original family every Jubilee year is detailed in Leviticus, Deuteronomy reinforces the importance of land remaining within the family and provides regulations to ensure land is not permanently lost through poverty or debt. Deuteronomy 15-1-2. Question 41. What does Deuteronomy say about divorce? A. Divorce is not permitted under any circumstances. B. Divorce is permitted and it requires a written certificate of divorce. C. Divorce is only allowed if a spouse is unfaithful. D. Divorce can be verbal only. Answer B. Divorce is permitted and it requires a written certificate of divorce. Deuteronomy permits divorce, stating that if a man finds something indecent about his wife, he can write her a certificate of divorce, give it to her, and send her away from his house. Deuteronomy 24-1. Question 42. How are judges and officers to be appointed according to Deuteronomy? A. By the king only. B. By the high priest. C. By popular vote. D. They are to be appointed in every town to administer fair justice. Answer D. They are to be appointed in every town to administer fair justice. Deuteronomy instructs that judges and officers should be appointed in every town to ensure justice is administered fairly and impartially for all. Deuteronomy 16:18. Question 43. What is the procedure for dealing with a rebellious son in Deuteronomy? A. He should be ignored. B. He should be taken by his parents to the elders for judgment. C. He should be sent away to a distant land. D. He should be forgiven unconditionally. Answer B. He should be taken by his parents to the elders for judgment. Deuteronomy states that if a son is stubborn and rebellious, his parents should take him to the elders at the gate of the town to be judged, potentially leading to severe consequences if found guilty. Deuteronomy 21:18-21. Question 44. How are different weights and measures addressed in Deuteronomy? A. They are encouraged to use diverse weights. B. Accurate and honest weights and measures are mandated. C. The topic is not addressed. D. Only priests can use weights and measures. Answer B. Accurate and honest weights and measures are mandated. Deuteronomy insists on the use of accurate and honest weights and measures in trade, emphasizing the importance of fairness and integrity in business. Deuteronomy 25:13-15. Question 45. What is the law concerning gleaning in Deuteronomy? A. Landowners must glean their fields completely. B. The poor and the foreigner may glean the edges of the fields. C. Gleaning is forbidden. D. Only family members can glean. Answer B. The poor and the foreigner may glean the edges of the fields. Deuteronomy commands landowners to leave the edges of their fields ungleaned so that the poor and the foreigner can glean from them. As part of ensuring care for the vulnerable, Deuteronomy 24:19-21. Question 46. How does Deuteronomy address idolatry? A. It promotes tolerance of idolatry. B. It strictly prohibits idolatry and requires the destruction of idols. C. It is considered acceptable in some cases. D. It encourages the private practice of idolatry. Answer B. It strictly prohibits idolatry and requires the destruction of idols. Deuteronomy strongly prohibits any form of idolatry, commanding the Israelites to destroy all places where the nations they dispossess serve their gods. Deuteronomy 12:2-3. Question 47. What is the requirement for witnesses in legal cases in Deuteronomy? A. A single witness is sufficient. B. At least 2 or 3 witnesses are required to establish a matter. C. Witnesses are not necessary. D. Witnesses can be family members only. Answer B. At least 2 or 3 witnesses are required to establish a matter. Deuteronomy requires that a matter must be established by the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses, underscoring the importance of substantiation in legal proceedings. Deuteronomy 19:15. Question 48. How does Deuteronomy influence the later prophets in the Bible? A. It is rarely referenced by later prophets. B. Its teachings are central to their messages, particularly regarding justice and covenant fidelity. C. It is contradicted by later prophets. D. Later prophets focus only on its historical sections. Answer B. Its teachings are central to their messages, particularly regarding justice and covenant fidelity. Deuteronomy's emphasis on justice, the covenant, and the need for societal fairness heavily influences the teachings of later prophets, who often call Israel back to these foundational principles. Question 49. What is Deuteronomy's view on centralized worship? A. It supports worship in any location. B. It mandates centralized worship at the place God will choose. C. It encourages private altars. D. It allows for multiple central worship places. Answer B. It mandates centralized worship at the place God will choose. Deuteronomy mandates centralized worship, instructing the Israelites to worship at the place the Lord will choose, which later texts identify as Jerusalem, to unify worship practices and avoid idolatry. Deuteronomy 12:5-14. Question 50. How does Deuteronomy handle the succession of leadership after Moses? A. It does not mention succession. B. It appoints Joshua as Moses' successor. C. It leaves the decision to the Israelites. D. It suggests a democratic election. Answer B. It appoints Joshua as Moses' successor. Deuteronomy handles the succession of leadership by appointing Joshua as Moses' successor, ensuring a smooth transition and continuity of leadership as the Israelites prepare to enter the Promised Land. Deuteronomy 34-9.